This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Tonight's solar eclipse. The rare celestial phenomenon unfolds over Nova Scotia with tiny Meat Cove in the path of totality.
Hotel housing. Tenants of a former travel lodge talk about how the project has helped them come back from homelessness.
And everyone, every day. A Mi'kmaq-led centre in Halifax is giving people the chance to learn new skills.
After great viewing for the eclipse today, the clouds will build in tonight and in through Tuesday with a few flurries and showers in the mix. Your full forecast is coming up.
And there is a look at a total solar eclipse over Meat Cove here in Nova Scotia just after 4:30 this afternoon.
All eyes were on the skies in the tiny community in northern Cape Breton. It is one of the only places in the province that was in the path of totality, seeing total darkness.
This rare event happens when the moon lines up perfectly between the Earth and the sun. All right, that's where we begin our coverage tonight in Meat Cove.
Although the eclipse only lasted a few minutes, hundreds of people descended on the community to take in the rare celestial event. The CBC's Kyle Moore reports.
Meat Cove only has about 100 year-round residents, but today the population exploded. Cars lined the only road into the community as hundreds of people flocked to the area to catch a glimpse of the solar eclipse.
About 2.5 hours, 2:45 maybe, but I've been waiting for it for a long time.
Curtis Young wanted to share the experience with his family today. The science teacher took the day off work and his children out of school to be here. The tiny village on the northern tip of Cape Breton Island is one of the only places in the province that was in the path of the totality.
Well, we've come for totality, right? So, yeah, that's it. It's all the totality. So we get 90 seconds, I think, here. So, yeah, just looking forward to seeing the corona. And
this picturesque part of the island gets a lot of tourist traffic in the summer and fall, but for early spring, the numbers today are unheard of. Some people making the trip to Cape Breton from as far away as the Halifax area.
I'm hoping to just not be so busy taking photos and playing with my gear that I have a chance, a once-in-a-lifetime chance, to really just enjoy the eclipse and the experience.
Most of the tourist facilities are still closed from the winter, but waiting for the eclipse can work up an appetite. The food truck at the iconic Meat Cove campground was a busy spot. So too was the community center. Volunteers there were geared up to welcome the hundreds of visitors.
We're pretty used to people coming here, especially in the summertime. It's nothing for us to see 200 or 300 cars a day in mid-season, and we're actually like to see them come this time of the year because it's kind of slow.
By mid-afternoon, the moment everyone was waiting for, when the moon lined up perfectly between the Earth and the sun.
What do you think, guys?
I love it.
You love it?
Awesome. It was certainly worth the journey from Halifax.
The clear skies made for the perfect view, and a once-in-a-lifetime view many won't soon forget. For the people of Meat Cove, they are hoping visitors will return before the next eclipse. Kyle Moore, CBC News, Meat Cove.
Meanwhile, most of the province, including here in Halifax, only saw a partial eclipse, but that didn't stop people from taking it in. Viewing parties took place throughout the municipality, including at Mount St. Vincent University, Citadel Hill, and Horseshoe Island Park. Clear skies today were a bonus, making for an unobstructed view.
Ryan with us now, and certainly the weather did cooperate.
Yes, you were very happy about that, I know.
It feels like I just need to just walk off the set now. Good night. Yeah, listen, this one was a stressful one because it could have gone either way. I mean, we knew historically the odds were not in our favor, but as it turned out, this was one of the best spots in the entire continent, across the entire continent, for viewing today. And this is the visible satellite imagery from this afternoon. What's this black blob moving across North America? That is the shadow of the eclipse moving across North America. You can see there's Texas and the Great Lakes, and then in through our neck of the woods here. And yes, that path of totality, of course, couldn't have timed out any better. After all the clouds this weekend, then those clear skies today, just really worked out perfectly across the Maritimes. Bit of clouds in through Newfoundland, but folks there, many folks there saw it as well. So things, again, just worked out so nicely. If this had happened tomorrow, it would have been definitely more problematic, especially for Meat Cove and Bay St. Lawrence. More clouds in the mix there. Temperatures certainly much cooler. The winds are going to kick up tomorrow as well. Sustained winds in the 20 kilometer per hour range, maybe a little stronger here in the northeast. Gusts 40 and 50 kilometers per hour on tap for tomorrow. That's just going to keep temperatures feeling a bit cooler. 1 to 3 degrees in that north and east part of the province. And then along that Atlantic coastline, 5, 6, 7, even 8 degrees for tomorrow. And yes, a couple of flurries and showers in the mix as well. Area of high pressure fades out. Here's the little frontal boundary that's going to be moving through late overnight in through the morning hours tomorrow. And again, that will kick up at least the chances for some of those flurries, and that will linger into tomorrow. That frontal boundary moves away. High pressure is going to move back into the region, which will mean a pretty bright Wednesday, favorable overall, but again, really variable temperature-wise. Low single digits here in the east, but it looks like in the west we'll pop back up into a couple of double digits, especially in through places like Gajimgujuk. So yeah, overall, again, feels like we can everything's just gravy now, no matter what the forecast is for the rest of the week. But we are looking ahead all the way into next weekend with your 7-day coming up.
All right,
drop the mic, Ryan.
He will be coming back for the rest of the show. Okay, thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Well, tenants of a first-of-its-kind supported housing project in Atlantic Canada are speaking about how it's helping get their lives back on track. Some of the first people to move into the Overlook in Dartmouth have been telling CBC what it is like in the converted hotel. Gareth Hampshire got a tour of the facility, which opened in January last year.
Even though he's been living at the Overlook for more than a year, Todd George still feels good when he takes out his key to unlock the door to his room.
It's a big change from where I was, wondering where you're going to sleep at nighttime.
Being able to lock the door is a big thing too in what used to be a hotel room, but is now his own apartment.
I have enough for myself to get me through.
His life changed when he lost a finger in a forklift truck accident. He says he couldn't work or pay his rent after that, and has been through various programs to treat addictions since then.
That's what this place gave me a chance to rebuild.
Carol Crawford is also on a new path. She moved in last January with her dog after living in a tent before that when her rent got too high. She doesn't think she could have carried on outside for much longer.
I'm going to have new teeth in. I'm going to see an eye doctor to get my glasses. And I have support for anything I need.
More than 50 people are living at the former travel lodge that was renovated with federal and provincial money. The on-site supports that make it unique include a pop-up pharmacy, as well as a healthcare clinic and around-the-clock staffing. People living here need to meet a set of criteria, and the rent is $535 a month.
It's specifically for people who've had lengthy experiences of homelessness, who've tried the other things that exist in the system, and who are actively using drugs or alcohol. That's who it's built for. That's who it was designed for, because we don't have enough of those examples.
A key belief is people should not be forced into recovery or sobriety, and tenants are supported through harm reduction programming. The model includes an approach that provides safer access to alcohol and drugs that are prescribed.
The alternative to the managed alcohol program is Listerine, sanitizer, rubbing alcohol, shaving cream, non-beverage alcohol consumption. The alternative to opioids is fentanyl and other toxic illicit street drugs.
Todd George is now volunteering, trying to help others who are homeless. Carol Crawford also wants to give back. Now she's in a better place. Gareth Hampshire, CBC News, Dartmouth.
Student housing on and off Nova Scotia's post-secondary campuses is in short supply. Some students say that the struggle to find housing is getting in the way of their studies. As Taryn Grant tells us, a nonprofit group based in Halifax thinks it can be part of the solution.
From the outside, it looks like any other apartment building. But this 15-story high-rise is unique. It's not a dorm, it's not even on a university campus, but it's only for university students and their families. And the rent here is about 30% below average.
Our one bedrooms are going up in June to $930, and our two bedrooms are $1,175. I hesitate to say that because I know the flood of calls we'll get, right? And so we've actually closed our wait list. We have about as many applicants currently on the wait list as we have units currently, so it will be years until we can really start accommodating new applicants again, but because of the price, right? And it includes all the utilities too, so it's really, really affordable.
A nonprofit student group built this in the 1960s, and now with a housing crisis hitting every corner of the province, they're looking to expand.
I think for us, it's like, if a community has students and young people in it that need housing, that's where we want to be.
The next step is to buy existing housing or build new housing to rent to students for cheap. Archibald says that could help all renters, not just students.
The ability to bring, more affordable, adequate housing to students frees up units outside of, the student space for other people. And in the long term, any kind of injection of non-market affordable housing brings down the average market rent, which is what every renter needs and wants that right now.
The crux is that it could take years for the goal to become a reality, and the demand for student housing is high right now. Students' unions are fielding questions about housing all the time.
We are hearing from students that they need help kind of navigating situations with their landlords, understanding tenants' rights. There are a lot of resources out there, but also this is not a system that was made for students. And so, when students, we're in a particularly vulnerable situation because we are trying to learn how to be adults.
Anderson says for some, the lack of affordable housing has become a barrier to getting an education.
We are seeing that a lot of students are going part-time because they can't afford to keep up with the price of education, with the price of groceries, with the price of rent.
Some institutions are trying to fix this problem, including King's, which is working on a plan to take down one of its old buildings and replace it with a new dorm. It's still in the design phase, and millions of dollars still need to be fundraised. So today's students are not likely to see it built, but the current push to improve student housing could open doors for the next class. Taryn Grant, CBC News, Halifax.
The Nova Scotia government is increasing the threshold and expanding the eligibility of its forgivable loan program that encourages people to build backyard and secondary suites. The forgivable loan amount is now being increased to a maximum of $40,000, up from $25,000. The province is also expanding the eligibility of who can live in the units. Housing Minister John Lor says he sees the loan program as an extension of the province's rent supplement program.
There's not much we buy for $40,000 a unit nowadays, where anything being built is close to $250,000 to $300,000 for a new building, a new separate standalone. So we think this is good value for money for the taxpayers' investment, and we see it as a way of providing a rent sup, and we want to see this program succeed.
Since the program was announced in the fall, the province has received 48 applications and issued 25 loans.
The QE2 hospital is back to normal operations after two major water main breaks last week left the site without heat or water. The Nova Scotia Health Authority says the tap water is now safe to drink after testing over the weekend. More surgeries will go ahead as scheduled, and the disruption was caused by pipes that broke inside the hospital's power plant. It affected the infirmary, the Veterans Memorial Building, and the Abbey J Lane.
Search and rescue operations around Nova Scotia are questioning the Houston government's recent announcement of the Nova Scotia Guard, a new volunteer organization to help out during major emergencies. Some worry people are getting the idea that they can simply just sign up to do search and rescue.
I'm alluding to training. There's criminal records checks, there's training. Every searcher has their own equipment, so there's an expense involved on behalf of the volunteer herself. So there's, it's more than just signing on to 211.
I'll talk to Sherry Vino about the questions and concerns her group has about the new Nova Scotia Guard. That's our Newsmaker interview just after 6:30.
A forestry professor in the Maritimes says last year's wildfire season may have seemed like an anomaly for our region, but he cautions that severe wildfires could become more frequent in the years ahead. Last May, a wildfire in Nova Scotia's Shelburne County grew to more than 23,000 hectares and burned for 2 months. Another fire in the Upper Tantallon area of Halifax destroyed 151 homes and forced thousands of evacuations. UNB professor Anthony Taylor co-authored a new report on wildfires in the Maritime provinces. He found a long history of fire in the region and says climate change is increasing the risk of future fires, but he says the risk is manageable.
More than 95% of the fires that occur here in this region, the Maritimes, are actually human caused, human ignition, not natural. And so that's a big lever for us, to play with. And so if we can make an active effort through outreach and education programs to make sure that people are careful when playing and working in the woods, then that can go a long ways into helping to prevent fires to occur to begin with.
Taylor says urban sprawl also increases wildfire risk, and planners should take that into account as cities expand to accommodate growing populations.
A Nova Scotia firefighter who spoke out about the need to expand cancer coverage for firefighters has died. Captain Billy Marr was diagnosed with colorectal cancer in 2020. At the time, only 6 types of cancer were presumed to be related to firefighting work, including colorectal cancer. In 2022, the province expanded that list to 19. A close friend and fellow firefighter says Marr played a key role in that change.
It changed things for firefighters, all firefighters in Nova Scotia, expanding that list and bringing us in line with other presumptive cancers that were covered in other provinces. So very passionate about that. They did great work, and Billy supported that, and very proud of him for what he did. And I know just up till recent times, he inspired his doctors to do more. So he was certainly an inspiration to many.
Marr started his career as a firefighter in 1999. He was also active in the hockey community, recently working as the part of the Halifax Mooseheads equipment management team. Marr had 2 young sons. He was 46 years old.
A Mi'kmaq-led center in Halifax is giving people the chance to learn new skills alongside different cultures and backgrounds.
Everyone Every Day held its official opening last month to showcase the variety of skills that will be offered at future sessions. Have a look.
Today is our program launch for our spring program, which is about 6 weeks of a multitude of sessions that we offer here at the shop. Everyone Every Day is a project of the Mi'kmaq Native Friendship Center, and we are a reconciliation initiative, but we are certainly inclusive to all, especially in the North End here in Jivuktuk. Right now we're just entering into the 3rd year of the program. This is a place for folks to be able to come together and share cross-culturally, cross-generationally, and kind of build this idea of shared lives, to be able to celebrate together, because among all else, like joy is one thing we can all share together, and also honoring Wasikamu, Mother Earth as well, and Imsinokama, all our relations in the mix. So it's not just people-centered, it's considering people, land, and nature. And I think we have probably 60+ sessions that are all free to attend, any skill level, low commitment. There's inclusivity principles we try to follow for sessions to make sure they're as inclusive as we can make them so that anyone can participate at any time. There's definitely something for everyone, that's for sure.
It really just kind of creates a space where community can come together and practice craft without a super industrial setting. Creates more doors for people to get involved.
We try to get folks involved and spark creativity and imagination around projects that they would want to work either in their neighborhoods or communities, or maybe host a session in one of our programs here based on their talents and things.
I think it's so important to have spaces like this where people can create and see a reflection of themselves in the things that they make up around, and also sharing talents with each other. If you're good at cooking, you can share how to make a recipe, and then someone else that's good at sewing can teach you how to sew. So it's a great community place to hang out and create and be with others.
There's not a lot that I'm able to do in my own work to kind of contribute in any way in terms of reconciliation. So being able to volunteer my time with a passion that I already love and have that translate into a space like this is really, really powerful.
We're very honest about this is sort of where we're starting, and it's all learning, and it's a journey on the way. And so yeah, I'm really excited even 3 months from now to kind of look back and see the stories and the differences that are maybe happening Either way.
Lots of learning going on there.
Great idea.
On our way to our first quick break. Do stay with us.
There is a lot more to come on CBC Nova Scotia News. Coming up, high-level bureaucrats were testifying today in the public inquiry into foreign interference in Canada's elections.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump has clarified his position in the abortion debate. He says it's up to states to decide.
And have a look at this time lapse of the eclipse taken by camera operator Dave Laughlin. Ryan's up next with his forecast. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Hey, Ryan, we're over here.
Yeah. I hate to tell you, but it's over now. You can take off
what
the
a day it
glasses.
was.
They just look so cool. I just want to leave them
And you
on.
wore them really well today. We were all standing in the parking lot
yep,
at
having a good
4:30.
look.
I'm not sure much work got done in any of the workplaces around Nova Scotia today at that time, for sure.
Well, it didn't last that long. We needed some fresh air.
It was a spectacle. You had to take it in.
Everybody had to hopefully enjoy at least a few moments of it. And again, we said it off the top, but it couldn't have gone any better. Few is right, because the pressure was on, especially this time of year, and it really did did work out so beautifully. Again, not only for the clouds, but the temperatures were so nice as well.
But it got cool.
It got a little chilly.
It did
during the
cool off
eclipse,
for
didn't it?
sure, and we wondered whether Nova Scotia, other than Meat Cove, the places that weren't in totality, whether we would notice like that drop in light. For sure, it was noticeable here in Halifax.
Sure was,
The light was a little eerie, and you could see it getting a little dimmer and dimmer. But it's back to normal now in. Across the province, and here's a beautiful shot in Cape Breton, and yeah, that sun, no more moon shadow there, and you can see it is beautiful. 3 degrees, sunny skies, and in fact, when we look at the high temperature, or the current temperatures first, you can see 4 in Sydney, 7 in Ganesh Beach, 5 at Port Hawkesbury. We're still at 15 in Western Head, but look at the highs today, right around when we were enjoying the peak of the eclipse. Yeah, you can see it got up to 16 degrees at Western Head and Shelburne today. Nicely shielded from that bit of a northerly flow. 5 to 9 degrees the highs across Cape Breton for today. Yeah, beautiful. No doubt about that. Now, we are going to see temperatures cooling off. And the other thing to note, of course, we are into that time of year where it is going to be so variable based on the winds. Tomorrow, today, yes, somewhat, but tomorrow and Wednesday even more so. We can see a bit of a light onshore flow here across the north right now, gusting upwards of 30 kilometers per hour, but we're going to turn the winds up thanks to this frontal boundary working its way out of Labrador, and that will sink across the Maritimes. That'll bring a stronger northerly wind, and it will cool us down and bring a chance for some isolated showers and flurries. Now, as we talk about the forecast for tonight, temperatures back down towards the freezing mark, 2-3 degrees in through the south and west. Those northerly winds around 20, gusting upwards of 30 for the north and east. And again, that Northumberland shore and Cape Breton is where we have a chance to see some of those isolated showers and flakes, mainly through the very late overnight. Isolated chance this evening. There's tomorrow morning, and this is when we're going to really get into those chances. We'll be through the morning hours. Note the clouds more dominant across the east for tomorrow. We'll see some cloud in the mix for western areas. Not likely as far as Yarmouth and Shelburne, at least not very much. You folks will likely remain mostly sunny there, but certainly thickening those clouds up as you move into eastern parts of the mainland into Cape Breton. Though some breaks of sun in there, and yes, those flurry chances will be in the mix as well. So temperature-wise, tomorrow will be around 1 for Sydney and Ingonish. Temperatures, 1 or 2 degrees, because that's about where we are water temperature-wise. Into the Bredora Lakes region down towards St. Peter's, we'll get up to around 4 degrees. Port Hawkesbury around 3. 3 and 4 degrees Northumberland and Eastern Shore tomorrow. With those northerly winds, we'll be gusting around 50 kilometers per hour for both the island and the eastern parts of the mainland. Backing into central, 2, 3, 4 degrees for most, but looks like from Annapolis Royal back down into the Digby, Kedgie, Yarmouth, Shelburne areas. This is where we're going to climb it up into the 7, 8, and 9 degree range. Shelburne likely our hot spot again tomorrow, and then for Halifax right around 4 or 5 degrees. And again, a very similar story on Wednesday. 2, 3 degrees across Cape Breton and right along the Northumberland shore in those onshore winds. Places like New Glasgow and Ganesh, which are just inland, will likely climb into the 5, 6 range, and then 7, 8, 9, and even 10 degrees down through the South Shore region on Wednesday. It's all because of this frontal boundary moving in and bringing us that more enhanced onshore northerly flow. Now, we'll increase the clouds through Wednesday night into Thursday, and there's that cloud deck starting to work its way in on Thursday. Looks like we'll stay dry, and then this wet weather will track in Thursday night and certainly for Friday. That's when we're looking at some periods of rain rolling through. Double digits, though, staying mild for Saturday. Showers lingering, but that system trying, at least thinking about clearing out through Sunday. Some sunny breaks, certainly potential. Monday, though, looks good. No eclipse on that Monday, though. So
if we can get some sun on the weekend, that'll make you popular even more.
We'll try.
All right. Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Up next, I'll talk with Sherry Vino of the Nova Scotia Ground Search and Rescue Association about the questions it has about the new Nova Scotia Guard. That's our Newsmaker interview.
Please stay with us. You're watching CBC Nova Scotia News.
Search and rescue operations around Nova Scotia are questioning the Houston government's recent announcement of the Nova Scotia Guard, a new volunteer organization to help out during major emergencies. Sherry Vino is president of the Nova Scotia Ground Search and Rescue Association, which represents the 23 volunteer search and rescue teams in this province and their 1,200 volunteers. Ms. Vino, first of all, I know you have some questions about the new Nova Scotia Guard that's coming. What's the biggest one?
I guess the biggest one is how it's going to be operable with ground search and rescue.
What do you question about there? What concerns you about that?
Well, the concerns are about what was in the newscast, that people that volunteer and sign on would be delivering essential services such as search and rescue. And I think that's rather misleading for people that are signing on, because it's just not a simple process to be with search and rescue.
What do you mean there? Are you alluding to training?
I'm alluding to training. There's criminal records checks. There's training. Every searcher has their own equipment, so there's an expense involved on behalf of the volunteer herself. So there's, it's more than just signing on to 211.
So you have some questions there. How much detail is your organization receiving from the government about the Guard?
Well, we have received absolutely nothing to this point. I have tried in the past week to dig a little and get some information for all of our searchers. And I haven't been able to get that. I haven't been able to find out any more than the bill is on first reading, and it will be probably voted on this fall. So nothing's going to happen till this fall, is what I've been told.
The Premier does say that Fiona and the fires that we recently saw in the province did show that we have this need for more help when big disasters like that strike. So that seems to be where they're coming from with this. Do you see that as a necessity?
Yes, and I know you have to have a lot of people to do those hours and put in that time. I understand that. Search and rescue, we've been doing civil emergencies since 1970. And, just recently did the snow removal in Cape Breton. And we had 3,500 hours put in, along with other volunteer groups that were already there. I'm not sure that there was a lack of people there, not from everything that I've heard.
The Premier seemed to be suggesting that it's not necessarily about searching and rescuing per se, although there may be some of that for sure, but it's also about who has a snowplow when you really need more of them fast, like they did this past winter in Cape Breton.
That's correct. There's always that. And I know they put out a federal request for heavy equipment for snow removal. And that's understandable. And that's going to happen probably with any civil emergency. There's going to be more equipment needed. That may or may not involve this particular database of volunteers, right? That would be heavy equipment would be more on the on companies, on probably renting equipment from those companies.
When you look at the funding side of this, I mean, when you look at how search and rescue is funded now, and what might be needed to help with the Nova Scotia Guard, whatever form that takes, I mean, what are the questions you have around funding?
The questions I have around funding is that Nova Scotia Ground Search and Rescue, there's 23 teams in the province. So each team receives $3,000 a year, and that's considered an operating grant. So that is stayed the same amount for the past 15 years. So we recently requested an increase, and that's 6 months now, and I keep asking for updates, and I haven't received any updates on that. The association, we have a fundraising going on that we've been doing for quite a number of years. So we try and supply the teams with what equipment that those funds will provide. We also provide training with that money, and there is a lot of training with search and rescue.
What about finding volunteers? How much of a challenge is that?
It's always a challenge finding volunteers, even in our province. We're smaller than some of the provinces, of course, but we find we've got people moving around, people moving out west, people coming from out west, even people moving just within the province for their jobs. So it's always a task to do that. We most of our search and rescue calls are mutual aid calls. We may be able to do the first operating period with our own team, but then we have to reach out. We have to reach out to the other teams.
So lots of questions around the Nova Scotia Guard. I guess some of them will become answered sometime in the near future. Appreciate your thoughts on this today, though, Sherry Vino. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, the new National Dental Plan starts next month, but some dentists have decided not to take part.
High-level bureaucrats have been testifying at the public inquiry into foreign interference in Canada's elections.
The so-called Panel of Five was tasked with watching for meddling, analyzing how serious it was, and deciding whether to issue public warnings. The CBC's Rafi Boudjikanian has the latest.
This is the last line of bureaucrats monitoring foreign interference into Canadian elections, and for both of the previous two votes, they decided not to sound a public alarm.
This threshold was very high, and there are important reasons for that. First of all, because there was some risk that any intervention by the panel can create more harms than good. It had the potential to create confusion and also to be seen as interfering in a democratic exercise. And we want also to make sure that we were not being seen as taking a partisan position.
A rebuke to testimony last week by former Conservative leader Arnold Toole. He maintains his party may have lost 5 to 9 ridings to misinformation orchestrated by the Chinese government unhappy with its strong stance on Beijing's human rights record.
Do you agree that every voter's vote in Canada in a federal election matters?
Absolutely.
And do you also agree that it also matters if even one vote is jeopardized, suppressed, or threatened because of evidence of foreign interference that you may have before you?
I agree with that.
Today, the Conservatives' lawyer tried to make the panel confess the partial intel they had received about 2019 should have met that threshold. Intel like how there may have been a transfer of at least $250,000 from unknown People's Republic of China officials to some election candidates. The panel maintaining that would have been for the Commissioner of Canada Elections to act on.
So in your view, if the evidence was concrete, they should have done something about it?
Yes, I believe that the due course of action would have happened.
The panel did say it recommended the Liberal Party be briefed privately about intelligence it received in connection with then Liberal MP Han Dong's nomination race in the Toronto riding of Don Valley North, something it considered to be one proper means of mitigation. It also asked for CSIS to continue to monitor and feed it information. Some members of the Prime Minister's inner circle are up next at the inquiry. Rafi Bujikani, CBC News, Ottawa.
The Global Atomic Energy Watchdog is warning about the risk of a major nuclear disaster in Ukraine. Russia says there was a drone strike on the power plant in Zaporizhia on Sunday. The International Atomic Energy Agency confirms one of the reactors was hit. There was no breach, but 3 people were hurt. Ukraine and Russia are blaming each other for the attack. Independent verification is difficult because heavy fighting has put the region off limits for journalists. The facility is the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. It has been under Russian control since the early days of the war.
Displaced residents in southern Gaza are returning home to Han Yunis after Israel pulled most of its ground troops in the area. People are returning to find a devastated wasteland. It's estimated that 90% of homes and buildings were damaged or destroyed in 6 months of fighting. The city has come under intense bombardment in recent months in Israel's war against Hamas militants. The Israeli military says the withdrawal leaves just 1 brigade there. It's been reducing troops in Gaza since the start of the year to relieve reservists. This comes amid growing pressure from its ally, the U.S., to improve the humanitarian situation. IDF officials say troops are regrouping as the military prepares to move into Rafah. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has clarified his position in the abortion debate. It is a very contentious issue in the current presidential campaign, and Trump has stepped away from endorsing national limits on the procedure. Journalist William Denslow reports.
The former president has previously been accused of being evasive on the issue of abortion, but in a more than 4-minute video posted on social media, Donald Trump has now laid out his view that it's a matter for individual states to decide.
Many states will be different. Many will have a different number of weeks, or some will have more conservative than others, and that's what they will be. At the end of the day, this is all about the will of the people. You must follow your heart, or in many cases, your religion or your faith.
Trump claimed credit for the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Since then, 21 states have introduced bans or restrictions on abortions. Still, Trump said he strongly favoured the procedure in certain cases, including rape, incest, or if the woman's life is at risk. Some anti-abortion groups say they're strongly disappointed with his position, arguing that more action is needed at the federal level. President Biden says his predecessor's policies sowed chaos, adding that he'll seek to protect a woman's right to choose if re-elected in November. In a conference call with journalists, Biden's re-election team said Donald Trump was seeking to erode women's universal freedoms, often putting their health at risk. According to a recent Fox News poll, 59% of people felt the procedure should be legal. That's up from 44% when a similar poll was conducted back in 2022. William Denslow for CBC News, New York.
Canada's National Dental Care Plan is set to start next month. It's supposed to cover low and middle income seniors who don't have private insurance, but some dentists have decided not to sign on to the program. The CBC's Marina von Stackelberg explains why.
No pain on any of the implants at all?
Coverage under the Canadian Dental Care Plan starts next month. This denturist says it will really help his senior patients.
It's something that most of our clients are going to be affected by. We're happy to be part of it, especially if it works the way it's supposed to.
So far, 1.6 million seniors have enrolled. Ottawa will only say thousands of oral health care providers have registered to treat them. Dental associations warn participation is low. Case in point, their presidents, working dentists themselves, tell CBC News they won't run the program in their own practices.
My staff have told me, in no uncertain terms, they don't want to do the program because they just cannot handle the extra burden that comes with it.
They say dental offices are thinly staffed and can't handle the paperwork Ottawa requires to process claims. Plus, they don't know what they're signing up for.
Unlike other dental plans, this federal program is asking the dentist to sign a contract that's like 7 pages long with a lot of unknown factors and unnecessary terms and conditions.
Some seniors are shocked to find out their dentist won't take part.
What does it mean for me? I've just got to continue paying. I just have the minimal amount of things done.
It really irks me that the federal government came out and announced a dental plan, but they didn't do their homework to get the thing in place so that my dentist could be part of it.
But Ottawa may be looking to sweeten the deal.
We're working actively on creating an alternative portal that will allow dentists to participate just directly when a patient comes in front of them, to just put in the information and be able to put that claim.
Another sore spot for dentists and patients, the federal government initially pitched this as free dental care, but only some procedures are covered and at a lower rate than many clinics charge. So you should still expect to see a bill when you leave the dentist chair. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
Kendo, the traditional Japanese way of the sword, is gaining ground in Manitoba. It's one of the martial arts derived from the samurai way of fighting, but instead of a blade, participants use long sticks made of bamboo. CBC community reporter Shanna Lee Vidal and videographer Randall McKenzie visited a Winnipeg club to learn more.
Nowadays, this art is done in Japan by approximately 1.56 million people. It supersedes what we have in hockey here in Canada by quite a bit. And it opens. Manitoba has traditionally had, since maybe 1968, one club. Over the last 10 years, I would say that those numbers have greatly expanded. And I think for the first time in Manitoba, we're seeing a really fiery and hot kendo scene that's starting to merge. Number 2, make sure that the connection of the monoichi strikes. We keep alive the way of the sword, but not so much the techniques anymore. We don't necessarily have to worry about the blade. We use bamboo. This is called bogu, and it's born of Japanese samurai armor, or heavily inspired. There's 4 pieces that we wear. Today I've got on a do, which protects my midsection, the tare, which protects my legs. We wore kote, which protected our wrists, and then of course we wore the men, which protected our face and the top part of our head. The targets in kendo, of course, are the head at 30 degrees, the wrists, the sides of the do, and you might have saw them practicing direct tsuki. The initial shout that you might have heard when 2 kendo players came together is called a kiai. In this kiai, they are looking to bring apart vitality inside their body. And if they can bring in vitality and they can suppress their fears as well as their ego, then they're ready to move forward in their attacks. If there's any wavering in their mind, if there's any fear, they'll start to show openings and they will be cut down. When they do make a strike, what you're hearing them say is either men, kote, do, or even tsuki. So they will literally call out the target that they've hit so that their partner understands that there is no accidental strikes. Everything was intentional. When you strike a good kote, just a standard kote, your arms should be nicely extended.
Right. Respect is a very important part of Kendo, and that we bring the respect into the dojo, but that same respect, it also helps in other everyday life.
It's a wonderful sport in which to spend time with great people in a manner in which you can engage with them with a sword while still keeping up your overall mental and physical health.
For news you can trust, we have the latest on what's happening in your community and a weather forecast you can rely on no matter where you are in Atlantic Canada. I'm Amy Smith.
And I'm Ryan Snoddon.
Join us for Atlantic Tonight.
Right after the National.
All right, we're back talking weather now, and when we were outside in the parking lot, when the eclipse happened, it did feel like the temperature dropped,
It did,
a degree or two maybe. I don't know how much it was.
Yeah, definitely a little drop, and the light changed. It was really quite a beautiful spectacle. Been seeing a lot of pics coming in from across the province, and some from New Brunswick for the totality. But I thought, given there's so many of those types of pics, something a little different that was snapped today. This one from the Chester area. And instead of looking up, this one looking down. And this is a sidewalk, and you can see where the light is filtering through the tree branches or whatever that is, where the light is getting through the shadows. You can see it is in the shape of the sun, or what's left of the sun. So that same crescent that's left. Yeah, for sure. Pretty cool shot. And thanks to Sarah for sharing this from Chester. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. Now you can see for tomorrow, we're looking at certainly a cooler day, 1 to 4 degrees for the north and eastern half of the province, 4, 5, 6, 7, and even 8 degrees in through the southwest. We'll see winds from the north, 20, gusting to 30, 40, and even 50 kilometers per hour, with the strongest gusts for Cape Breton and you folks along the Northumberland shore. Now for Wednesday, lighter winds overall, but still quite a variable day in terms of temperatures. We'll range from around 2 to 5, maybe 6 degrees in through the north and east, and we'll climb up into the 7, 8, 9, and 10 degree range in through the south and west. So yeah, hard to put just one temperature on the old 7-day board these days with so much variability. As you can see here, that cold front will come through. There's that chance for flurries for tomorrow with maybe a shower mixed in. We will be looking at that area of high pressure moving back in, as we said, for Wednesday. And then that next system will come in. Looks like it will really start to push in for Thursday night with some showers. And we'll be watching that to bring some periods of rain in for Friday and Friday night, and lingering showers on Saturday. Double-digit temperatures, though, with some showers also on tap for Sunday, though a better chance for some sunny breaks Sunday. And hopefully Sunday afternoon.
Fingers crossed. Okay, thanks, Ryan. Hundreds of cheerleaders were in Halifax this past weekend for a national championship expo.
I feel really happy and excited because I've been here this is my second time coming here, and I'm really excited to be back.
More than 100 teams from across the country performed choreographed routines that included dancing and acrobatics.
Maybe you heard them. The event has been significant, or seen significant growth in recent years. The first year, the event only saw 26 teams competing.
Winning teams from the weekend's event will have a chance to go on to the World Championships in Orlando next year. We wish them the best of luck.
All right, that's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.